You stay off the tracks when the train's coming through, Junior.
Lingo versus Landwehr. This one is a banger meet. I can't wait to get your perspective on this one because I know that you have historically been a Nate the Train Landwehr backer, and he's riding a 2-fight win streak. You got to give him credit. And one thing I think is most impressive is that not only has he won 2 straight, but he picked up performance of the night against Ludovic Klein when he absolutely smoked him, finished him in the 3rd round with that beautiful anaconda, and then most recently, he took out Obama, David Onama, and got a fight of the night bonus in that one. James Krause was caught holding the bag, and we haven't really heard from him since, nor have we seen David Onama. So that one was tough for Onama, but impressive for Landwehr. And I'm curious to see if he can keep this momentum going and really catch his stride, because Landwehr is a guy who made so much noise outside of the UFC, pre-UFC, right? He was the M1 Challenge king, right? He was defending that featherweight belt over there and making a lot of noise for himself, really developing almost like a cult following. And it started slow in the UFC, right? He came out blazing against Herbert Burns and then got blazed by a KO knee in the 1st round in that one. But 3 or 4 wins since then. So good to see the train catching some real steam, so to speak. But I want to know if he has the skills to take out Austin Lingo, who is one of those guys who you wouldn't really say he does anything particularly great, but he does seem to do everything pretty good, and he's very well-rounded. He, too, has won 2 straight, and the first was against Jacob Kilbaum, and then he smoked Luis Saldana, but that was back in August of 2021, and we haven't really seen or heard from him since, so it's been about a 2-year layoff, whereas we just saw Landwehr within the last 8 months or so. So what are your thoughts on how this one plays out? I got to be honest with you, me, I don't love the odds for Nate Landwehr. Like, we were texting earlier, and we saw some sort of tweet where it was like, Nate Landwehr is the kind of guy that you want to bet on when he's plus 300, but when he waltzes into the octagon at minus 300, it can get a little sketchy. So do you think Landwehr is worth all the juice, or is Lingo going to cash as a dog?
Yeah, it's so hard to say because Lingo hasn't fought since 2021, so it's been a little bit, and Landwehr's been pretty active lately. Nate the Train, he's looked phenomenal these last 2 fights, and it's pretty funny because nobody's like really respected him at all until I guess this last performance, because now he's a minus 270, which I don't think I've ever seen him even as a a favorite in any of his UFC fights, to be honest. But man, do I love that guy. He's one of the funniest guys ever. Intentionally, non-intentionally, I don't know. I don't care. He's Nate the Train, and I think he's going to turn off the lights on this train and take out Lingo. I think he's going to knock him out 1st round. Austin Lingo, I was thinking about, man, these odds are so good, and Lingo, he's only lost once. But then I go, wait, what's a memorable Austin Lingo fight? A memorable performance by him? I couldn't think of any. I legit couldn't think of any. Could you? I don't know. Throw in the comments if you can. But I can't. And how many Nate the Train fights can I remember? All of them. And they're all fireworks. So he's going to be bringing on the heat. And I think he'll have the skill set and the strength to take out Austin Lingo. I do like those odds that Lingo has, because those are always good odds. Because when you see Nate Landwehr, you don't know if it's going to be the last 2 fights, Nate, or those few losses where you're like, wow, he looked really bad, So it's definitely a risky for the biscuit, but I like knockout 1st round, and I'll probably play the pops. I definitely am fading this fight totally on straight up.
Yeah, I feel that for sure, and definitely not placing Nate the Train in any of my parlays. That is for sure. And you mentioned Lingo's fights being sort of not very memorable, and contrasted with Landwehr's, who every single fight in the UFC, it's always going to be at least interesting, right? Like, I think back to that bloody war that he had against Darren the Damage Elkins, where he picked up his first UFC win, and then how can you forget that fight against our boy Juicy J? Shout out Debbie Rosa real quick, where the classic clip, I wasn't out, even though Julian was able to pretty much sleep Landwehr with those knees in the 1st minute. So every time we see Landwehr, it's always fun, it's always entertaining, and the fire that he spits on the mic afterwards is also something to behold. So I am hopeful that he's able to get this one done against Austin Lingo. I'm picking him for Meat Boy's sake, but if Lingo's able to make this one ugly, maybe grind out Nate Landwehr and just fights this fight where it might be advantageous to him, and non-advantageous to Landwehr, then maybe Lingo can get this one done. But for Meat Boy's sake, I'm going Landwehr. I'm going to go by decision. But again, minus 300 is crazy for Nate Landwehr, even against a guy like Austin Lingo. So, any last thoughts on this one? I'm going Landwehr. I'm with you.
No, yeah, Nate the Train, he is coming through, so lights out better be watching out. Don't know how much you taking lights out or the train, and smash subscribe, like, and turn the notification bell so you don't miss a meat lock or another breakdown.